welcome back to my channel. So I have an interesting video for you guys. Just thought I'd just come with a little light video, nothing too heavy today, because I think this video would make for an interesting video. I did something similar to this video last year, but it was about Jamaican sayings, like, sayings that we grew up hearing, that has some really pretty interesting meaning or pretty powerful meaning as kids when we were growing up. So I thought I'd do a video similar to that one, only this is about things Jamaicans create name for, things we grew up on thinking they were the correct name until we learned otherwise. And mostly you learn the correct name when you travel. Sometimes you heard the correct name, sometimes you're corrected, but we choose to stick to the name that we know, especially if you're still living in Jamaica. But once you move away from Jamaica, you tend to adapt to the correct name of what that thing is. I came prepared. I have script here so I don't forget, because some of them I just jot down because, just in case I forget. But I know some of them that are ones that I hear all the time and that I actually thought was the correct term or name for it. I learned otherwise, guys. I learned a long time ago still, so but I'm not that dumb. But it's quite interesting how these names came about. So I guess it'll be interesting to come up with my own theory as to how these names came about. So guys, let's get into it. So guys, first off, I'm sure if you ask your parents or your parents, they'll come up with a theory, but they're not 100% sure as to who was the first person, if you think about it, who was the first person to come up with these names, where it becomes something so national on a Jamaica scale. So I guess first one, and I'm going to be exploring, is pear, right? Now, if you're Jamaican, you know that pear is what we eat. It's green in color. And if you're like me, you enjoy it with some bulla. Well, that's what I grew up on, pear and bulla. Or you can have pear with your food, but it was more enjoyable with bulla. So you would have pear and bulla. But what makes it such a great combination is the sweet taste of the bulla, and then the pear just kick it off. So that was a great combination. However, I soon learned that pear is not the correct term for this. The correct name for pear is avocado. A lot of us know this now, but I'm just talking about like when you're a child growing up. And it depends on where you grew up as well, because I'm assuming, this is an assumption, guys, not necessarily the facts. I'm assuming that in most areas, probably the parents correct the child, but everybody called it pear, so as kids, we just call it pear too. So when I learned that it was avocado, it was a bit strange, it was a bit hard to get adjusted to, but I eventually stopped calling it pear, and I now call it avocado. Now, my theory on where this pear came from, why they started calling it pear, my theory is this one. So in the UK, there is a fruit, there's a pear, there's a fruit called pear, right? And it actually shapes the same way as avocado. So my theory is that one Jamaican man or woman just happened to be from abroad and came to Jamaica one day, and they saw pear, then they saw avocado and decided to call it pear because it's the same shape. That's my theory, guys. Let me know where you think the name pear came from, where it becomes so national, because every Jamaican, when you say pear, they know what you're talking about. But if you go abroad and you tell them pear, they think you're talking about that sweet fruit which is like apple. It tastes like apple. It tastes like American apple. They'll think that's what you're talking about. So let me know, guys, where you think this came from. And as you think about it, you know, that one person you would assume create this new name for avocado, where everybody calls it pear. Because you know in Jamaica, news spread and things spread and people adapt and so on. Now the second one is press, right? Again, for my other viewers, because I'm aware of that, for my viewers from different countries, press in Jamaica means to iron. So you want to iron, you say press. Now, obviously, that's not the correct term. That's just a Jamaican term for the word iron. Iron is more global. Now, my theory on where the word press came from is pretty straightforward. I'm just assuming that a little old Jamaican grandmother is pressing down because back in the days, they never used to have electric iron. What you used to have is iron that you put, I think, coal in it, and then it would eat it up, and that's how you would press your clothes, as they call it, which is not the correct term. Iron is the correct term. So my theory is that old grandmother was ironing, but because of the press motion, because you have to apply pressure to the clothes, you call it press. And I think that's where the term came from. And once again, one person say it, somebody pick it up. I can, it's just interesting to find out who's the first person that created this term to apply to ironing. But again, it's pretty interesting. And again, guys, put your theory in the comment section. Now, the third one, guys, is pampas. Oh, this kind of annoy me in a sense. It's a little bit annoying in terms of everything as us as Jamaicans we call pampas. When truth and in fact, pampas is just the brand. I felt pretty stupid the first time I called Huggies pampas. I was laughed at, but people have to understand different cultures and you have different way of doing things. So that was fine, but I was pretty much laughed at. I think I was looked at like, oh, what's wrong with her? But that's why you have diversity. So guys, the correct term is diapers. But as Jamaicans, we say pampas. Everything is pampas. Huggies is pampas. You have so many brands of diapers. You have Huggies, you have the actual name Pampas, which is a brand. I think you have loads over here in the UK. But we call every one of them Pampas. Now my theory, obviously, is that there are more Pampas brand for certain people, and they just attach the name to the old diaper. And if you can remember, back in the days, Jamaicans, we didn't even used to use diapers. When I was growing up, I used to just see nappies. And when people have their babies, I remember it was cake soap. Cake soap. I haven't seen that in a long while. I used to use cake soap and wash the nappy and wash the baby clothes. That time the baby clothes pretty white and pretty. And you'd see it on the line. So whoever remember that, remember. If you know, you know. So guys, the fourth one, which is the most interesting one, guys, is the bully beef. Gee whiz. Bully beef. All my life I've been trying to figure out where this name came from, bully beef. Now bear in mind, guys, that these terms may not apply to every Jamaican, because some Jamaicans would say they don't know it as that. But most Jamaicans, if you say bully beef, they know that you're talking about the correct term, which is corned beef. Now, I'm trying to figure out where did bully beef came from. I once theorized that it's because there was a brand name bully beef, but my mom said she doesn't know of a brand name bully beef. So I'm not really sure where the term bully beef came from. I'm still trying to figure that one out, but I would more like to say that there was a brand named bully beef and people just automatically call the corned beef bully beef. Once again, it's one of those interesting things about being Jamaican when you find out that it's actually not what you thought it was. So guys, the fifth one, which is the most the rudest one, is the term jankro. Right? So the popular bird, which is the vulture, so everybody would call it a vulture, but if you are a Jamaican, you know. A drunker that. You know? Yo! Guys, and this term drunkro, even though it is attached to the vulture, that's what we call vultures, as Jamaicans we call it, drunkro. But typical Jamaicans, when you cuss somebody, and you know, when you cuss somebody, you call them a drunkro. Oh God, sorry for my language, guys, but yeah. And the reason why people would curse you and call you a drunkro, cool, is because of what the vulture does. You know, the vulture is, it picks at carcasses and so on, and the vultures do all these disturbing things with their mouth. So if you're a Jamaican, you don't want nobody call you drunkro. Because you're gonna be very offended, because you're gonna be like, okay, so that's what a drunkard does. No, a war. Most times it's fighting that will take place if you call somebody a drunkard. So yeah, of those type of things, you know, sensitive Jamaicans like, you know, call me that. No way. So guys, the last one, but this does not exhaust the list, but I don't want a long video. The last one, last but not least, is the pants. Guys, this one was a bit weird for me. Weird in the sense of trying to get used to the term here. Because in the UK, a pants would mean like, you know, like what you wear, underwear, what we call panty in Jamaica. That's what they call pants, you know. But in Jamaica, we call trousers pants. We call everything pants. Once it have two legs, we say pants. And we call, as I just mentioned, panty. We just call it panty. We call what UK would call pants, we call that panties or brief. Interesting. That's something I had to get used to over time. But guys, that's really it. That's the list that I have for you. Pretty interesting. But you know, as Jamaicans, we're creative. We're always coming up with terms, and we have our own language, it seems. We have our own definition and language and dictionary for every single thing, which is what makes us unique as Jamaican. So guys, if you know any more, or you know, your theory on where these terms start from, as I mentioned earlier, put it in the comment section. If you agree that my theory makes a lot of sense, you can let me know as well. And if you've made it this far into the video, please do give it a thumbs up, guys. Really appreciate the support. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet subscribed and you like the content and what I do, guys. Until next time, Godspeed. Big ups. Bye, guys.